This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. So, yesterday we had seen how to use joins and like operator and coalesce function and how to use isNull function, all of them. So, today let us understand one more important concept, how to use string functions. We have upper, lower, left, right, length, reverse, replace, ltrim, rtrim, trim, substring, stuff, space, char index, and pat index. These are very, important functions, and these can be used very easily. Okay, so let me have these functions today. So let us have the functions one by one so that we can easily understand the things. What is upper? What is a lower? Let us understand. So upper function is if you have some data is in lower case, if you wanted to make that uppercase, then normally we use this function, upper function, to make it upper. Okay. If you wanted to make it lower, then you should be able to go and make it lower. So these are very straightforward and simple functions. Let us use them. Let me copy this text and let me paste it here. So what I'm saying, select account ID, right? And name. So I wanted to make it to uppercase, okay? If you wanted to make it to uppercase, you can use, okay, you can use upper function. If you wanted to make lowercase the same name, you can say name and lowercase and as lower customer name. And I wanted to get, there's a function called left and right functions also available. Okay. There is a left and right functions. If you wanted to get four letters from the left, okay, from left side, left hand side direction, four letters, first four letters will be given, first four characters will be given. This is the left function. If you say right four function, last four characters, when you say four, you can say four, or you can say five, or you can say two, whatever you wanted to say, you can say some number. Okay, so when you say left, first four letters, and when you say right, a last two letters will be given. Okay, something like this you can understand. And length means it's going to be giving you the length of the name or length of any given string. A reverse function can reverse the call. And ltrim function, if you have any kind of a spaces, it's going to be trimming the space, and we have rtrim. And if you wanted to trim both sides, then we can use ltrim rtrim. And the new function recently added the trim function to add the spaces both sides. Let us understand these things so that you can understand, you can execute and see how it is happening. So this is my name, which is there in the column. So I make it everything into uppercase. So what I'm using, uppercase function. So I wanted to make, this is my original name in the table. So this is the name. I wanted to make everything in the lower case. So I have used lower function. Okay. I wanted to get first three letters of the name. So SYE, Syed. Okay. So that is what is called the first three characters, Syed, Rad. So Bhaskar, if you wanted to get the first four letters, then you can say left and column name, how many letters you need it, that you can specify. And which is the right, and how many letters you need it from the right hand side, you can use those many letters. Clear? So now I wanted to get the length of the name. So this is the string value. So each string, what is the length? It's going to be counting including spaces. Okay. So length of the name, it is 11th length character. It is a 14th length, or 12th length, something like this. So sometimes people may ask you, find out the name which has a maximum length. Okay, find out the name which has a maximum length. We have here 18 characters, here we have 20 characters. Like that, you can find out the name which has maximum length. Okay, so again, we need to write, a one more query on this. So 20, it is 130 Surya Prakash, right? So maximum length. Then we have 18, right? So 15, something like this. People may ask you, find out the name which has a maximum length. You can use this function later. You should be able to use your own logic and derive the maximum length, the name with the maximum length. If you wanted to reverse the string, so entire string will get reversed. Okay, so with the help of a reverse function, Ltrim and rtrim. Ltrim and rtrim means if you have any kind of a space in between or a space left side or right side, that will get trimmed. So we have a Ltrim, rtrim. So if you want to use both function, you can also use like this. And there is a trim function is recently added. You can cut the space both sides. For example, I have 101. I have a space here. Okay, and I have, let me have here. So Nalini, let us say K. Okay, so I should not have spaces both sides, but I have space here, two spaces, and I have two spaces there. Okay, let me update this. When I update this and try to execute this query, now see, actual name is looking like this. Okay, if you see, the length is having 10 characters, but it is not having 10 because this spaces also, which is including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So which is taking this, but this is it is ignoring. So even though it is ignoring, that is fine. But now when you reversing, you will be able to get some kind of a spaces here as well. So I wanted to trim the name. So what I normally use, so if you wanted to trim both sides, the better you use L trim and R trim both with the name. If you wanted to trim only one side, we can use this is L trim name, this is R trim name, okay. This is LR trim, it is a full trim, something like this. You can give alias and try to execute this query. Okay, so L trim, it is going to be trimming the left hand side. Right trim, it is going to be trimming the right hand side, but you can see there is a space here. And LR means both sides I wanted to trim the data. And if you have a spaces in between, that it is going to be not trimming. So if you have spaces in between, that is not going to be trimmed, but only left hand side or right hand side, if you have something that will get trimmed. And there is a new function got added recently, trim function. So that also you can use. Yeah, am I clear? So these functions are very, very straightforward functions and that we can easily understand and learn. So next one, I wanted to create a customer table, customer ID, which is integer, okay, and customer name, which is varchar 300, and phone number, which is a character 10, and date of birth, date and time, not null. Let us have the requirement like this. The phone number cannot be more than 10 characters. So you can say 10 characters. Okay, so it cannot go more than 10. But there is a chance that people may give you 8 characters. People may give you 9 characters. That mobile number is invalid number. Okay, in India especially, right? So how do we ensure that the mobile number should have 10 characters, not 7, not 8? So it cannot have 11 and 12 because here I have restricted. That is fine. But how do you ensure that it should not have less than 10 characters? So I have to say check mobile number, that is phone number length equivalent to 10, and which is a unique phone number should not get duplicated. So I have performed a unique key constraint in this, and this is a check constraint. Okay, so this is how you can create a check constraint. Your mobile phone number should have only 10 characters. So length of phone number equals to 10. I have written a check, okay, which is a check constraint. Mobile number should not be duplicated. If that is the requirement, so you can go in for this. And a date of birth, for example, when you join a company, your age cannot be more than 55 or 60, right? So because 58, that is the time you have to retire. So I wanted to apply a check constraint of your date of birth, date def YY, date of birth get date. You supposed to be less than 58 or less than 50, not more than that. If it is a government company, it is 58 or 60, okay, or 65. So you cannot, say my age is 100 years, my age is 120 years, even though you give the wrong date of birth here. So it is going to be calculating your age. So you can have between 20 to 58, something like this also you can mention. Clear? So date def, it is greater than, let us have that also, date def control C, it is greater than 20, 21, and it is less than or equals to 58, something like this we can specify. Okay, so if you want to specify this, you can say this, and let me create this table. Right, now created the first, the date I'm going to be inserting is this, which is getting inserted because there is no issue. The second record I'm trying to insert, and I had given, let us say, 1 5, everything is properly there, but let me remove one number in this, say Abhijit. So let me execute this, so which is telling me a check constraint, the conflict, blah, 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 blah. Where it has occurred, it is telling me in phone number. Clear? The phone number column is supposed to take 10 characters, but you have inserted only 9. The data did not go. You have to mention the proper number there. Okay? So that is happening. Now let us have your date of birth, okay, which is also perfectly good. So let me have your date of birth, as by mistake you have entered 1785. So let me execute this and try to see. It is clearly saying it is conflicted with the date of birth, column. Okay, when you see the data there, it is giving you only 3 rows. The fourth row did not get executed because it is not having proper data. Clear? So this is completely wrong. So you need to be, having 1985, or let me say 2005 or 2005. 2005 is also wrong date of birth, right? Because you should have more than 21 years of age. Okay. So if you give like this, it's clearly telling me the column date of birth is having some kind of an issue. Clear? So all these things you can, create with the help of a functions and everything. Yeah, am I clear? So how do you ensure that you need to have only 10 characters, not less than 10, not greater than 10? So greater than 10, anyhow you can give. But how do you ensure that the phone number should have a 10 characters only? So these are the things you can mention like this. Clear? So you can give the proper number here, so proper value here, but let me give you one duplicate number. So this is the number I have already given, but the same number I'm planning to give here. So this, which is a unique key, because unique means what? It should not have duplicate data in that column, but it is clearly saying cannot insert a duplicate key. Have you seen this? Which is the duplicate number? Already This value is available, it is saying. So the same number you will not be able to execute it. This is already existing, right? So all of them you should be able to verify like this. Let me change this number, double one double two and double two here. This is the number. Let me execute. Everything is perfectly executed. So all these things are important whenever you create a proper table. Ensure that, so ask the requirements and create proper values like that. So normally you don't create this kind of a specifications. These specifications will be given by the architects, right? So the length and everything they will be giving it to you. You cannot decide on your own. For example, I am constructing an airport. So I'm a labor there. So I wanted to construct a pillar. So who's supposed to give the pillar height and everything? Will you decide on your own, or there'll be an architect? So there'll be an architect. They will tell you the what is the size of the pillar, what is the size of the wall, what is the size of the room. Everything will be decided by the architect and the design diagram itself. So that you should not ask why the pillar length is this much, why the column length is this much. That they would have taken care. They would have talked to the or talked to the requirement gatherer. They would have understood. So when the airport designing is made, so the architect can tell you how many pillars he needs it, how many walls, what is the floor size, room size, how many rooms, how is the runway, how the roads, everything will be decided by the architecting team. So people who are going to be constructing, the labor team going to be comes later. They see the diagram, and there'll be the supervisors and managers, team leads, they'll be assisting the labor. So they'll be constructing walls and the roads and everything, but the designing and everything will be done by the architects, right? But how the architect knows that the room size must be this much, the runway size is this much, because they have a lot of experience and they gather the requirement from the government. So if the government is constructing airport, then they'll gather the requirement. If the government does not know anything, at least the architecting team, they will suggest, because they would have constructed a lot of airports all over the world. They can tell you this is how the airport looks like, and you can accommodate these many flights in this. So this is the total traffic we can control. Based on those parameters, they design based on the land availability, based on the traffic, based on a lot of other parameters. The authorities of the airport, the architects of the airport, they can construct or they can design an airport, right? So designing is done by the architect. So that is the thing normally it's going to be happening, right? So whenever you wanted to create a software, after you gather the requirement, there is a designing team is going to be sitting. There is an architecting team is going to be sitting like 20 years, 30 years, or industry experts, domain experts, and they know technology also. They know what is RDBMS all about. For example, I am working for an industry almost for past 20 years, and my domain is for airport. Many times I had worked for the airport authorities domain, so I have a good knowledge about it, right? So I'll be a architect for this, the IT project. Clear? So I'll be gathering lot of data. I'll be giving you all the tables and primary keys and foreign keys, the links, column names, everything. I'll be giving it to you. You only create the syntax for it and create the check consent, whatever I have told you in the document. You remember I had given you a case study of supplier, case study of school, right? So they like that. I create a diagram and I can give it to you. Based on the diagram, you need to create these tables. That's it. Clear? So all these things are pretty much important, that architect has to decide what is the check consent, which is the primary key, what is the length of the column, length of the column name, pillar name, each and everything will be done by the architect team only. So you cannot decide, should I use 100, should I use 55, should I construct the pillar there, should I construct the pillar here, pillar size is this much. Will you decide if you're a labor there? No, you cannot decide. If you decide like this, the complete project is gone, right? So that you cannot do it. So the architecting team has to be giving you a designing document. Based on that, you create your own tables and everything. Clear? So that is what you need to understand. Now, the next one I wanted to tell you is that substring. So this function I'm going to be, so reverse we have used, so replace we'll use it later. So ltrim or trim we have used it. So now we're going to be working with the substring and replace functions all about. Clear? So this is very important function, substring. So what is a substring? We'll see now. Substring and replace. Let me go here. Select account ID and name of the column. This is how when the companies you will write the column, not next to that. You need to write below this. Okay, column by column you need to below like this. See, this is how the normally companies people will write the data like this. Okay, so this is how you need to write, and this is how the people will write the coding. Okay, this is how. So column by column, you need to have it here. Okay, then you can write like this. This is the nice way, or or the proper way to write the queries. Right now, so what I'm trying to do here is that account ID name substring name 124. That means I wanted to say where is that what is the starting letter, where should I start, and from there number of letters I must read. So that is what is the length. Okay, so you need to take the name, so you need to start from the first letter and from there read four letters. This is what is called substring. This is equivalent to, this is equivalent to left of four. If you say four characters, okay, so it is equivalent to left of four. You can say substring. Okay, substring. I wanted to take name. I wanted to start from the first letter. From there, four letters I wanted to read. As you can say first four letters or characters. Okay, so substring is equivalent to, when you say like this, which is equivalent to substring of one of four, or you can say simply left. Let me execute this. So both of them will give you the same data. Okay, so first three letters, three characters, and first four characters. Okay, first four character means you have two spaces and you have NA. Two spaces and NA, four spaces have been given here. So two spaces and NA, total four letters. Then you have Rad, Bhas, something like this. Okay, so left function four and substring from first I wanted to read this. But when it is not be in a equivalent to left function, for example, I wanted to read the data from the second letter. So starting point I have changed. I wanted to read from the second letter. From there, I wanted to read four letters. Or I wanted to start with the third letter. From there, I wanted to read fourth letter. In this case, it is completely a it is not equivalent to left function, so which is going to be reading uh, from the third letter. Okay, so this is where I need to start, starting point. From there, how many letters I wanted to read? I wanted to read from there four letters. So third letter is space n is the third letter. From there, four letters, Nali, Nali. Okay, Radha Krishna. So I wanted to start from the third letter, Rad. So from there it is starting DHA, dhak. Okay, like that, where you wanted to start, you can start, and from there how many letters I wanted to read it. So this is what is called substring. Then there is a function called a reverse function. It is going to be reversing the data. For example, let me simply say reverse the name. Reverse the name function. Okay, as a reverse, already we have seen the reverse function. Let me go and remove this for some time. Let me execute it. I wanted to reverse it. It will get reversed. Okay. So I wanted to get, last two letters. If you wanted to get last two letters, let me write the proper name here. Let me update because I don't want to. So I have some data here. Or let me have John Kennedy is the name I have inserted. Now I wanted to see the name in the reverse order. So John Kennedy has become YD blah blah blah. If you wanted to get first four letters, so or if you wanted to get first four letters, you can use like this. But if you wanted to get the last four letters, what you need to do is you have to reverse the string. After reversing it, okay. So after you reversing it, you can get the first four letters. So you can say reverse. This is a reverse string. Then if you wanted to say, I wanted to reverse, then get the substring. After reversing in substring, so this is what I wanted to reverse and like this. So which is going to be giving you last four letters. Okay. Last four letters it is going to be giving it to you. Let me execute this query. When I say that, which is going to be, reversing it, and from there it is going to be reading from first letter to four letters, or you can say I wanted to read third letter to after that I wanted to read two letters. If you wanted to do like that, you can say substring and you can get it. So which is equivalent to if it, sometimes which is equivalent to when you say I wanted to reverse and I wanted to read first two last two letters. If you say first two next two letters, which is equivalent to a write function. Okay, but I wanted to read the starting from the third letter. From there, I wanted to read three characters. Okay, so this is how you should be able to get it. Now, whatever I am getting it, let me give one. I wanted to read three letters. Whatever I am getting, that I wanted to again reverse it. So you can say reverse like this. Reverse of substring, reverse and reverse and reverse. So something like this you can write, and you should be able to get those, last three letters that you should be able to get. And this is how you can plan something and get the data. Instead of using reverse substring again reverse it, you can use the easiest function is that left, and we can say right functions. Instead of saying reverse and reverse and reversing, the simplest way is that use right and left functions. But if you wanted to read in between letters, then you can use left and right. You have to go in for the substring functions only. So substring function, the starting letter, and from there how many letters you need to read it. Clear? The next function would be stuff function. So stuff is you need to have the string, the column name, start letter and the length letter, and what is the string I wanted to add in between. So that is what is the stuff function. Yeah, am I clear? For example, let me write the so the name of the column. So what is that I'm saying? I wanted to say starting letter. From there you read the three letters. And instead of this, you have to mention this is the thing I wanted to have. For example, I wanted to inject some USA, where I wanted to inject USA in each and every name in place of first three letters. you inject a USS. Let me read this and tell you. Okay, so this is actually original name. The first three letters it JOH that is been removed, and in place of that you have added USA. Okay, this is what is called stuffing. Where you wanted to stuff, you can stuff. For example, I wanted to read, let us say, second letter to read from there two letters. So now you inject ESA there. So it is going to be reading what is the data? Second letter. Second letter means O. OH. Okay. Instead of OH, it will be putting USA in that place. OH will be removed. So it will be like this. Okay, so this is your name. So I am saying starting letter is 2, and from there you need to read two characters. So from this is starting letter is 2, from there two characters it will be taken. So it will be taken this. Okay, it will be taken these two letters out. Okay, so instead of that you will get a USA. So you are taking two letters but injecting three letters. That is fine, doesn't matter. So this is what is the meaning of this. You can have any bigger string as well. There is no issue at all. Let me execute. So remove the JOH, or if you wanted to say I wanted to replace first two letters with this. If you wanted to replace, then this is what is called the function, stuff function, which we are going to be using. So stuff, whether it is there or not, unconditionally, it is going to go to the first letter. From there, it will reading two letters. It will remove those two letters. In that space, it is going to be, in that place, it's going to be replacing or stuffing the this one. Be clear on this. Okay. So now I have a stuff function and there is a replace function also. Let us discuss now. So what is the difference between stuff and replace? Let us see now. So what is the stuff we discussed already? So which is no condition here. So unconditionally, no condition for each and every data which is going to go to the name. It is going to be reading from first letter from the three letters, and in that place it is going to be putting data mantra. So that is what this. But what is a replace function is, it is going to be reading the name. If it is having E, in place of E, you replace I. For example, I have Naveen, right? So I wanted to have Naveen. So what is the meaning? Instead of E, so that means if you double E available, then only you replace with I, otherwise not. So this is a conditional based, okay, which is a conditional based on the condition. What is the condition? The condition is, it is also stuffing, it is also stuffing the where, because instead of E, it is stuffing I. But if it is true, then only I'll be putting this, otherwise not. So that is the stuff function, and it is no condition. So it simply goes there and inject it. But here, if you have a double E, then this is a searching letter. So what is that I wanted to search? That is for double E. And what is the value I wanted to inject? That is I. Or you can inject blah blah blah, anything there. So instead of that, you can inject any value, doesn't matter. Clear? So that is a difference between stuff and replace functions, which is very important interview question. Okay, so John Kennedy, stuff means it doesn't need any kind of a condition. Data mantra getting uh, replaced anywhere. But here, when you see the replace function, if you have a Naveen with double A, then only which is going to be replacing. Otherwise, which is not. Clear? So you need to understand, if you have anywhere double A, then you can think like this. Otherwise, not. Anywhere we have double E, let me update this value, okay? Say 103 Naveen Kumar. Something like that. I wanted to update this and execute this data, right? When you execute it, so Naveen Kumar, you have, so instead of Naveen Kumar, it is showing you Nivin Kumar. Clear? If you have 10 or 100 Naveen Kumars with double E's, it is going to be replacing with Navin. So that is what is called replace and stuff. Okay. So the important question is that instead of such a string and replace string, if you have a double E, then only I is going to be getting replaced. The difference between replace and stuff function, stuff works without condition, replace works if the condition is true. What is the condition? If you have a double E, then only I will get replaced over there. Clear? So that is very, very important thing that we need to understand. So uppercase, lowercase, everything is created for us. Now I wanted to say something here. So substring is also we have discussed, and yeah, space, it gives the space in between strings, right? So this is the table name, first name. This I think we discussed already with spaces and everything, but let me discuss once more. I have employee one table. I have the data, right? Bhaskar Jogi and something like this. I wanted to concatenate with the spaces. Okay. So Bhaskar space, if you don't have any space in between, what is going to be happening? It will get concatenated, but you don't get the space in between. If you need the space, you write space of 1 and plus. There is a space function which is going to be giving you a space in between. Clear? Bhaskar space Jogi. Like that, you can use space function. Stuff and all we inserted. Now, one more important thing that you need to understand, char index. Okay, so all of them we discussed thoroughly. Now, substring replace stuff we have, and spaces also we have discussed. One more important thing is that char index and pat index. Okay, char index means it's going to be this function returns the starting position of the specified expression in a given string. It accepts three parameters with the third parameter being optional. Okay. So this is what is the syntax for this. What is the syntax? The syntax is searching letter. That is the what letter you wanted to search. That is the one you need to give, and a column name, in which column you wanted to letter for that this one, and the starting location. This is not very very important as of now. So I wanted to find out the position number for the space in the given string. This is a given string. I wanted to verify where the space is available. So inside this I want to identify the space. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 where you are able to get the space, but you have one more space here as well, right? But always it is going to be giving you this function in the starting position of the specified starting position. So the first position only, even though you have, for example, I want to find out O. Okay, but where is the first occurrence of O? That length will be given to you, not anything else. Okay, the starting index number will be given. So it is going to be taking 1 2 3 4, fifth letter is my O, and you have one more O as well, but that position number will not be given. So it wanted to find out the first position number of the O. Okay, O in the given string. Let me execute this. So where is that O is available? In the fifth place. So you can find out 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so for example, I want to find out the space. Now give like this. Now where is space available, which can tell you the space is available in the sixth, place. Like that you can find out. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clear? So when you have sixth letter, the first position only will be given. So I have hello world, or I wanted to find out the space here. So do you have any space in this string? If that is not available, you should be able to get as a zero. Let me execute that. If you don't have space in between, or for example, I wanted to find out I is also not available here. So you will be able to get zero if the given specified string is not available in that. Okay. So I say somewhere I'll put I. So when I put I here, let me try to execute this data. So in the 11th space, 11th position number, you got I. If you get one more I here itself, okay, hi, something like this. So when you execute it, so you should be able to get in the first position, even though you have, many eyes in the second position, third position, it is not going to be giving you that number. Only the first occurrence will be given. So remember this. But I wanted to find out something like this. It is I and hello world. Okay. Now I wanted to have one more I here. Okay. So definitely, which is going to be finding out one, right? So this is perfectly fine. But I wanted to, get this I position. Okay, if that is the case, what you can do, where you wanted to start the searching, because by default, which is going to be starting from here. Okay, starting from the first letter, and it's going to be trying to find out where is I. So what you do, let it start from the, say, third letter. Okay, that means the searching is happening not from this, it is going to be happening from the third letter. This is the first letter. Okay, second letter from the third letter, which is going to be finding. So where I wanted to start the searching from here. So that is what is the third parameter. If that is the case, I can get this i's position number. This I position number would be eighth, because it is going to be trying from here. So trying from the third letter. But what is the position number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, but it is trying to search from here, and the second I is available here. If you wanted to get the next I, then you need to tell them that where I wanted to start. For example, I have one more I here. Okay, so this position number will be given, and not the next position number. I have one more I also here, but I wanted to start from here. So say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I wanted to start from the seventh letter. Okay. And later I only I wanted to find it out. So it is going to be giving you the next I value. So where I want to start, you can specify. If you don't specify anything, it is going to be starting with the first letter. So that is what is called start location. So where I wanted to start. Okay, which letter I wanted to start, search and given the given column. So this is not important parameter, but you can also use this important parameter. Okay, sometimes. Clear? So when you give the numbers, so what is that I want to search, it can tell you. Char index O name. So position number for O will be given if you have the O there. Otherwise, zero. Okay. So John Kennedy, you have position number in that too. Radha Krishna doesn't have any O, and Naveen Kumar doesn't have anything. Okay. So something like this, you should be able to find out. So James Cameron, you have 12. Okay. So where you have where you doesn't have any kind of a O. Okay. So where char index blah blah blah. Okay. If it is a zero, if it is a zero, where you don't have any O there. So this is how you can find out people who doesn't have O in between or anywhere. Okay. The same query can be achieved like this also. Okay, the same query can be achieved like this also, where name like, okay, name like, I want to have k percentile, k percentile. If we have k anywhere, okay, I should be able to get k. Or if you want to get o anywhere, okay, I want to get o anywhere. So this is how you're able to get, okay, wherever you have o, that is taken. So you can say name not like, okay, where o is not available. Okay, so these many names are, you're able to get it 54. Okay, so the same thing here, o is not available, you will be able to get 0. So you can also write like this. Okay, here also you will be able to get 54. The data is the same, but there are different ways in which you should be able to write. Okay, a query can be written in 50 ways. So this is one way you can try. Wherever the O is not available, you should be able to get the 0, right? That you can see it here. Okay, the occurrence is the second occurrence, but here there is no occurrence. Okay, so you should be able to get like this. All these are pretty much simple that you can understand. Okay, find the email ID correct. For example, I want to find out at the rate symbol in this. If you don't have at the rate symbol in this email ID is wrong. Okay, so let me try to execute it. If I'm able to get 0 in the string, what is the meaning of this? The string is invalid. So this email address is invalid, right? So you need to have somewhere at the rate, this one, right? So then if you get a non-zero, if you're getting a non-zero, that means this email address is valid. So all these things are, you can do the check validations. So whenever you insert a column, for example, let me create a customer email ID here, right? So there is an email ID of customer. How do you ensure that? Email is, let us say, varchar 100. Now, how do you ensure that you have the proper email ID here? So you need to say check. Let me first drop this table. Okay. Now you can say check. Okay. So char index. Okay, of the column name is email, char index should not be 0. Okay, so when you get char index of email, what I want to check, I wanted to check in the double quotes at the rate symbol. If the at the rate symbol is not there, okay, so when you say this, let me have, okay, so employee ID, blah, blah, blah. If you're getting zero, zero means what? It doesn't have at the rate symbol. Okay. It should be either greater than zero or you can say not equal. So this is not equal to symbol. Okay. If it is not equals to zero, then this is a valid email ID. So like that, you should be able to insert some data. For example, let me have some data here. Let us say Bhaskar at the rate gmail.com. So when you insert this data, this is perfectly getting inserted. There is no issue here, right? But when you insert, say, Abhijit data, so Abhijit, okay, you have some outlook.com. So when you say outlook.com, it is telling me the at the rate symbol is not available, column email. So something it is telling not clearly, but there is an issue with the email that you need to identify, because check and send cannot tell you what is the issue correctly. So Abhijit at the rate is missing. So when you put like this, then it will be very very correct. Okay, and you should have a dot also. If the dot is also not there, that is compulsorily a waste. Okay, you can have check this one, and you can have one more condition. Okay, and you can have char index. One more thing you need to find out, it should have a dot. Okay, so that is also must be true. Okay, if dot is not there, so now when you execute this email ID, let me take Usha. Okay, Usha is perfectly fine here. Usha at the rate gmail.com. So this is invalid ID, right? It is invalid ID because you need to have the dot also. So are we checking whether you have dot or not? You're not checking. You're simply inserting only by checking the at the rate identity, uh, right? At the rate symbol, not the identity. You go there. It is telling me this is correctly. There is a correct data, but unfortunately, which is not so correct data, which is invalid data. So I drop the table. I drop the table and I create with these two values. Okay, at the rate symbol, and you should also have I, and let me insert the data there. Okay, now see this row will get inserted, this row will get failed. Okay, so this is getting inserted. Now see here also the data cannot go because I don't have the dot here. Okay, now let me check the data. You have only one row went into, this row did not go. Now this row went. Now this row cannot go because it doesn't have a dot there, right? So all these things you can verify like this. So how can we verify whether the email ID is properly inserted by the customers or not? So this is how you should be able to have it. Now there is an issue here. That is also I'll tell you. What is the issue? I can tell you. Now this is perfectly getting inserted. Now I'm saying like this. Say Ravi dot gmail at the rate com. Is it valid ID? It is also completely invalid ID. But unfortunately, you have a dot and you have at the rate symbol, and according to computer, which is a valid. So when you try to execute this, so it is going to be executed. Now you can tell them that this is perfectly fine. Okay, because it is only checking whether you have a dot or whether you have Gmail or not. But we don't know that the com should not have at the rate symbol. Before the Gmail, you need to have at the rate symbol. Before Outlook.com, you need to have. Before Gmail, Outlook, okay, you need to have. So the point here is that it is not the having the proper notation. Clear? So this kind of a complex validations, you will not be able to write it here. Okay, so that is what is very very important. If you want to write any complex algorithms, then you need to write a complex expressions that the SQL server may not be give you those complex expressions because SQL server is not for that. Okay, so people may use a .NET scripting, or Java scripting can be injected today. Okay, so today SQL server also can have a .NET code that will get injected in the forms of assemblies. Okay, when you go to any bank database, there is a programmability. Okay, there is a assembly. So assembly is completely .NET code that you can inject the same .NET code. You should be able to use them in your tables and everything. So the .NET can create lot of patterns and lot of complex pattern matchings you can achieve. For example, first you need to have at the rate, then only you can have a dot. This kind of a complex algorithms you cannot write in the SQL expression. This is a SQL expression that you cannot achieve. So that is the when you create in the .NET, you register those .NET code here. That .NET code we can call in this. Okay, instead of a char index, the .NET code name could be some ABCC. So this is a .NET code that I have written the function. That function I can call. That function can verify here that whether I should get the at the rate symbol first. Later I have to get the dot, something like this. It's a complex algorithm that we have written in ABCC. What is ABCC? ABCC is not a ready-made function like char string. So which is a complex algorithm with the .NET that you have created a function. That function you can call it here. So that function can be an assembly here. Assembly means a .NET C# code that you should be able to call in your logics. Okay, so that is also available today. Try to understand. So that is what is the importance of the .NET and everything with the SQL Server as well today, not only in SSIS, but also everywhere the .NET is getting injected, because the programming you can do in each and everything. In the SQL, you cannot do each and everything, right? So definitely you need to have a different things. By taking a pure milk, you cannot get each and everything. You cannot get all vitamins, all everything, right? You need to take meat, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, sort of things you need to have. So pure SQL cannot achieve each and everything for your SQL. Sometimes you have to go in for the other food like .NET and everything as well. So body needs lot of material like that. Even the complex algorithm needs complex other stuff. So if it is not given by the SQL, then you need to look for other replacement. If the calcium is not enough with your food, you have to buy the tablets and inject them, right? Or you need to take, you have to chew the calcium tablets if you are not taking the proper calcium by food. If the SQL is not given, so you need to go for the alternative way, right? You cannot say SQL is not supporting because it is a small function which cannot have a lot of other programming. Milk, if milk is not able to give you each and everything, then you need to go for the meat, or you need to go for the green leaves, or you need to go for something else. You cannot say that I cannot give you only I have a SQL language. I need to do everything with that. If that is not the case, the every time the people will get the new requirement, for that the Microsoft has to give the solution, right? So at least 99% of the time we don't use .NET. But in case if you wanted to have a complex algorithms, complex things to be done in your SQL, you can also write your .NET. And you need to hire a .NET developer. Tell them the requirement. They will create a .NET code for that requirement. What is the requirement now? The requirement is that, so whenever the email comes, you need to do the proper pattern matching. So at the rate symbol has to be there first, then after that only dot has to be there. So like that, when you give the requirement, based on that, he will create a .NET code or the function. The function you should be able to call in your store procedures, or then queries, or in or tables, wherever you wanted to call as part of your check constraints, wherever you wanted to call, that is when you should be able to call them. Clear? So char index, this is a function, right? Like that, you can create a function in .NET that you can call. Now, the last one let us talk about is uh, pattern index. Pattern index means I wanted to search for the pattern, returns this starting position of the first occurrence of pattern in specified expression, if zeros, if the pattern is not specified. So if you want to look for a single letter, for example, I would like to look for R, right? So I can use char index. But I wanted to look for a pattern, a bigger letter like this, then I wanted to use the pattern index with this, it's just like a like operator. So where this first occurrence is available, that will be given. So reach is here. So you can identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So reach is going to be starting in the 23 position. So like that, you can look for the complete pattern. Okay. So where the first occurrence is there, that will be given. So which is a similar to a like operator. So I wanted to search a ready, a reach, wherever it is available, you find out the occurrence. Okay. So that is what the pattern index, but char index is going to be giving you only the given value in the given string. Otherwise, it will be giving you a zero. If reach is not available, so you can tell them that you can get a zero here. That's it. Okay. If it is not available, you should be able to get the zero. So that is what is the important thing, char index and pad index today. Am I clear? So I wanted to validate something, I wanted to do something, blah, 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 you can do. The next one is that between operator. List the names of the customers whose balance between 10,000 and 50,000. You can write like this. See balance between 10,000 and 50,000. So the question is that will it take 10,000 and 50,000 and in between values as well? Answer is yes. Between operator is going to be taking a lower limit, upper limit, and in between values. That means which is equivalent to less than or equals to and greater than or equals to. Clear? You can also use instead of a greater than, less than, go for the between operator. Now, list the names of the customers who have opened accounts between 2010 and 2012. That means you have to include 10, 11, 12, upper limit, lower limit, and in between ranges, right? So date part Y by DOO between 2010 and 2012. Clear? So this is what is called between operator, that you can use it. The one more thing we have, case statement function. So normally in SQL queries, you don't have if and else. If something is true, do something like that, else you do like that. This is the programming style. If you learn C and C++ languages, they'll teach you how to declare a variable. They teach you how to use if and else. They teach you how to use loop. All these are nothing but a programming. But when you learn, SQL, they don't teach you what is a variable. In SQL, I never taught what is a variable, what is a if and what is a else, what is a loop, right? So that it will come later. But as of now, what are we learning? We're learning how to create a table, how to insert the data, how to delete the data. So these are DML operations. But the programming means you have to learn declaring variables, if and else, loops. That is all about the programming. When you learn C language, that will be taught first. When you learn SQL, you will be taught with the how to create tables and everything. Okay, you don't have if and else in the SQL queries. But now, if I wanted to use if and else, instead of the if and else, we can go in for a case statement. You can say star or you can choose the columns. Case is the starting, case is the ending. When means if something is true, then you display something like this. When, then, when and then, else, this, and end. So this is the simplest way you can write the if and else condition. Let me show you how we can write it here. For example, select star from the account master table. Okay, I have some data. Now, I don't need the complete data, account ID, name, and say C balance. Only these three columns. Now, the requirement is that case, okay, when you start the case, you need to end the case. Remember this. So let me write the columns one by one. When you start the case statement, you need to come and end. Okay, this is how you can end. What is the requirement here? The requirement case when C balance is less than 10,000. Okay, when the C balance is less than 10,000, then the customer is a silver customer. So this is the syntax. Okay, expression, then what? Constant. If the C balance is less than 10,000 or less than or equals to whatever you wanted to have, this one. When you can write multiple conditions, C balance between 10,000 and let us say 50,000. So the condition is like this. Then I'm saying the customer is the gold customer. Okay. Between operator includes 10,000 and includes 50,000 as well. Remember. Okay. So else means you can say else. Whatever the next item is, let us say platinum. Okay. Platinum customers. Now I wanted to end with this case. Now F5. Now see this, it is going to be creating a new column. This is the case starting, case ending. You can write multiple conditions like this. If this 10,900 is less than 10,000, this customer is called silver customer. No column name. You can say as customer type. Okay. So you can say like this. Clear? So you can say customer type equals to this. So, and if it is greater than 50, it is a platinum. If you don't write anything, it is not going to be giving you any errors. So, if that condition is not there, which will give you null. For example, this condition also not there, it doesn't give you anything. If that condition is not there, if that value is available, that will be null. That's it. Clear? So here else is not compulsory, nothing is compulsory, but you can specify whatever you wanted to have it. Okay. So let me remove this. What is the meaning? If it is a less than 10,000, which is silver, otherwise which is a platinum. That's it. Only two conditions, either silver or platinum. Like that, you can give one condition, two condition, 1,000 conditions, doesn't matter. So this is how the case statement can work. Am I clear? So it is very, very important that you can work with the case like this. Okay. Sometimes people will not give you any alias here. They will write the alias here. Customer type equals to. Can I write alias here? Why not? So alias also you can specify like this. Try to execute it. So customer type is alias here. So I had given you one thing. Select count star from account master table, right? So this is the one, no alias. But how do you give the alias? You can say as a count. So this is how you can give the alias. But can I give the alias? I can say you can go here. There is no alias in this. You can also give CNTT equals to. So you are prefixing the alias like this. So this is also perfectly fine. Okay. So what is CNTT, which is alias? Either you can give in this syntax or you can say as like that. Customer type is alias. You can say simply CNTT. This is an alias. That's it. So what is CNTT? God only knows, but I can give some alias like this as well, or I can specify like this. Okay, so this is very, very important stuff. So case we will be able to use every time. Many times we can use it. Okay, so this is what I have written. So this is my table. I wanted to have employee ID, employee name is the alias case. When the gender equals to male, then Mr. plus name. That means you will be able to get Mr. Ravi, Miss Lata. Else Miss and a name will get concatenated. This is the simplest way you should be able to display Mr. Ravi, Miss Lata, Mr. Surya, Miss Kavya, something like that. Am I clear? So all these things are pretty much important. So this case statement is very, very important. Employee name here is alias. Clear, guys? Now, these are the things we had discussed, and tomorrow we'll have subqueries, correlation subqueries, and derived tables and ranking functions. Okay, another 3 to 4 classes are available. So in this week, we'll be completing the completing queries. So I asked you to write the assignments, right? Have you started them? Because assignments are very, very important. I had given you 4 case studies to practice. You have to at least start with the school case study first, then the supplier case study, then the iBank case study. If you don't have the case studies, write me bhaskarjogi@gmail.com or info@goonlinetrainings.com. I'll give you, but don't stop writing the queries. Thank you, guys.